And so this is the part that I'm getting to, is that there are some very younger people that are very evolved, and they kind of probably feel like they know, you know what I'm talking about. But even still, there's a lot of even older people, younger or older, there is no difference. Some people don't even wake up their entire lives. And I think that's the best piece of advice, is I would say too, is that we have an expectation of others. They're going to act like us, think like us, be like us. And I'm not the only one saying this, is that different humans, people, souls come to earth, and they're at different stages. Baby stages, um, old soul stages. So maybe I was that. I just didn't realize it, or 13 or 14, to be conscious of like, what the fuck's going on around here? Nobody cares about this and that. The government's doing this and that. Why are they putting this in our food? But so not everybody is conscious, and not everybody is at the right stage, not the right stage, at the same stage. So being understanding of, like, for example, you're in a relationship, living or not, and trying to understand somebody literally does not know how to talk. Let's give that example, right? They actually don't know how. And it doesn't make sense. I'm going to say talk about emotions or something like that, right? Doesn't have to be a guy, could also be a woman. Um, they are not conscious. They don't know. They could be shocked about hearing that word narcissist. Like, I'm just giving an example because I love talking about that, apparently. Uh, so going back to, again, the addictions, the therapy and the coaching you can do on your own by listening to videos like mine and other people, is that, you don't necessarily have to go and pay somebody necessarily to start coaching yourself and asking these questions, like, why do I keep looking at those videos in particular? Like, they're not good for me. What are those videos doing? Are you comparing yourself to them? Are they making you feel bad? I have to back up and say, I think while I don't know it to be the ultimate truth, but when we are looking at beautiful people and things like that, it's almost like, try to think of it as it's a trigger to get to make you go inside of yourself and figure things out, because I did it subconsciously. I didn't know that I was doing it, meaning I had unique interests, and I was building my inner character. This is what my essay is going to be about. Um, that I'm working on still, is that I had interests. I was trying different things, and the more interesting that I made myself, like to myself, the better that I felt. And so that was, in a way, subconsciously building my character to realize that ultimately, in the end, that is more important than the way that I look. And if I am not perceived a certain way as beautiful or anything like that, it's not really going to matter, because I like myself, or I think I'm funny, or I think I'm interesting or something. That's for me like the survival thing, whether that is being narcissistic or not. I look at it as self-love, okay, and valuing, because the more I valued my inside, the less I focused on the outside. It makes sense, right? So the more you do that, it doesn't mean like, oh, I just need to work more and I need to do like that. That's not what I mean. I mean actually looking in at yourself, how much you already currently like yourself. And it's one of the steps, right? Building your toolbox, building your arsenal, so that you will stop comparing yourself out there. Okay, that's the best example that I can give you, because if I was going to talk about something else, so many other things that I could talk about, but anything, I mean, I'm sure there are addiction specialists, right, that can address things like porn. The only thing that I will say in the porn area topic is, because we are humans and things like that, is that even though, there's phrases and up and down and things like that, standard Hawaii beach towel, uh, is that it's temporary. Those sexual feelings and sorts of things like that, some guy might be like, okay, that's why I'm doing it hundreds of times a day. Those people is just that the feeling that you're getting from that, if you really dig deep and think about it, there's so much more. Again, like tons of stuff, to study and understand psychology and just human behaviors and humans in general, and just um, the reasons for all of, that, like just procreation, just, you know, it- people are doing it for fun and not just procreating. I'm just giving an example, okay? So when you look at how far gone that goes, people I've heard a lot of people when I listen to things, Christians or specifically, religious people might always bring it back to dark and devil, and that's what's creating that. If you want to look at it like that, it's I can see how you would, as well as, like, basically again, it's perpetuating addiction. The most recent thing I heard of somebody talking about um, on a podcast was that every time we look at things like that, or how often, it's like making that industry money. Yes, okay, yes, we know that. But actually creating more darkness, more heaviness, more from that spiritual sense. Okay. So even if you're like, well, I'm harmless by doing that, how much it's affecting your life. That's another flag, red flag, they say, right? It's like, okay, how much is too much? And so, all kinds of addictions out there, but those are, I feel like, social. Like I said again, I mean, I could be, while I'm doing my laundry and different things like that, constantly with the TV on and constantly with, listening to shows or whatever. Whatever you want to say are distractions. For me, it is a distraction. We'll just say podcasts or other shows. It gives me more material to write on. And so, but there are certain behaviors that I feel like I've let go and released and I don't do anymore. And whether they are areas that I've healed in my life, or, there are certain things like I think are good addictions, like my tea. Like maybe it can be excessive sometimes, but uh, there are certain behaviors, that I know are excessive, or, but I'm definitely not as bad as I would think I would be, especially social, in the sense of, like, I would be more addicted to watching certain informational shows, or just spend more time on that. I'm really shocked. I love hearing about other people's stories, so I wouldn't say I spend a lot of my time doing that. So let's end and close with, so what do people do when they're not spending so much time on social, and they're not working and or being or parenting and doing those types of daily activities? Well, I am doing things like my volunteer work, which I also need to get back to in the community, and I want to start something with the library. And that would include teaching workshops, going to my temple, and the new kick-ass one that they just built on. It took them 15 years to raise $1.7 million. It'll have educational programs. It'll have meditation stuff. And they're going to build a big ornate one, Thai temple we're talking about in the back. But this property and all of this that I've been waiting for forever. So that's also a dream come true. So wanting to be more active in that, aside from nature and the standard things and reading. I've always read, if you haven't, guys haven't listened to me before, a lot of, and the past 5, 6, 7 years of my life, writing a lot of material for this. This podcast, creating show designs, and organizing different things, being involved with, I think I just told you, volunteering with the St. John's Empowerment Program for women that come from domestic violence. Okay, so I have lots of different like specialty areas of volunteer work and workshops, and we said nature, the temple, trying to just enjoy life doing fun things. I think I've maybe talked about this before, all these activities of things that maybe a lot of people already do or they have to fit it in their schedule, but I'm just learning how to enjoy, and my music, and getting into Brazilian drumming. So those are all things we can all incorporate into our life to not be on our phones and not be consumed with social. I just wanted to address the more serious topics of things like I told you about, being hypnotized by beauty, being hypnotized by, comparing myself to others, being addicted to our phones in general, like, I'm sorry I don't have more examples to give you, because there's so many other things that when you look at very seriously, like, alcohol addictions, what else? Because we only really hear about drugs, alcohol, sex. I feel like we don't hear that much about gambling. We don't hear about a lot of those other things, and not, and the outside of the box ways to deal with them. So that's people. That's what I wanted to talk about off the cuff. I wrote down 2 sentences. If this is you in any sort of way where you just feel like, especially in your morning routine, you do this same repetitive thing over and over again, which may be to wake up and get on your phone. By the way, I don't really ever sleep with my phone by my bed and do that, because I know that I will do that and I catch myself. I stopped that though a long time ago and don't use that as my alarm clock. So very rarely do I do that, but let's just say, you have this routine that's immediately the thing you do. Look at the thing that you're doing repetitively. Maybe it's not a problem for you. I just wanted to talk about it because I know the spiritual side, and I know that my mission work and my calling and the purpose of doing this, and how we're creators and how you can actually make your life better, especially by thinking more positive, since I came from such a negative mindset. That's how I can talk about all of this stuff, which, a lot of people can even say, like, well, everybody does that. Everybody's on their phone. Everybody's on, doing social media. Everybody this and that and whatever. And there are a lot of us who aren't doing that, and I'm, again, not saying I'm perfect of anything, but I know that when I just try to nip it in the bud, for lack of a better word, right away. Like, Pinterest will suck me in, and I am redecorating, and I have too many different boards, and I'm overwhelmed, and so I have to watch myself. And I don't know that putting timers on helps me. I just have to constantly redirect. And it's the same thing with meditating, people. If you're just like, well, I try to get still, I try to do these different things, but I get too distracted, and then I keep thinking, and then I just suck, right? You feel like you don't get anywhere. Well, first of all, I've talked about many different forms of meditating, including doing stuff like this, which I'm not meditating right now because I'm talking. Washing dishes. Some people just go in a black room and they zone out, and that's their way that they do it. But there's walking meditation, sitting meditation. I know that sounds stupid because it's just like, well, don't people usually sit when they're meditating? No, because there's different kinds. The bottom line is, don't focus on having to get somewhere. Don't think of it like that. Try to think of it like you're going to sit and be still, and when the thoughts come, it's a passing, right? They're going to come and go. Now, for me, counting works best and counting down. This is not a meditation episode. Okay, so what I'm just trying to say is if you were to explore something like meditation, you will find out the different ways. Like I said, you are here, you ask questions, you're calling. So don't think of it also thinking about it, okay, yes, it's going to be less stress. It's going to be beneficial to you, but it's also going to bring out other things you didn't know, such as your life's mission, worker, and calling. And you can just ask yourself, right? Ask yourself, ask Jesus, ask God, ask whoever it is that you want to speak to. And I like to use the divine or the most high or oneness or source, even though if that sounds too, what's the word, fantastical, or people think that that's fake or whatever, I look at it as a universal consciousness and it has helped me in life. And that's what I prefer to use. So if it's 2 minutes, close your eyes and count down and let the thoughts pass you by and let them go. Whatever the thought is, if it's a worry or, and these are the developmental stages, I would say, of thinking positive. And the worry, like they say, sometimes we end up spending so much of our energy in life worrying about things that aren't even going to happen. So sitting down, journaling, writing on a piece of paper, whatever it is, if there's a problem in your life or an issue and you would like a solution for, you can achieve it, okay? By asking questions and making it serious and not driving around in the car or doing other things and thinking about all of this sort of stuff. Because when you sit down, make an appointment with yourself, you are going to see what I mean, okay? Direct writing, different things. Now I've ran my mouth for about 30 minutes. So maybe I can plan to speak a little bit slower in the future, but now I'm going to go on to my next task, which is finishing my essay. Another thing is how can I be better on not losing things, which is basically what I've been doing a lot of lately. It makes me want to throw everything away. I have too many purses that I interchange with each other. And of course, they're all black. Black closet, my favorite, trying to eliminate. I think I'm just going to have to eliminate things is moving forward, because now again I've lost something else yesterday, and then I found something else between the seats, and it's very bad to me, bad pattern that I know how to fix. And it seems to be it keeps coming back to I just need to get rid of things. And or biggest lesson, which I already knew anyway, is put things back where you find them, then they won't get lost. You can find them right away. I could find certain things that I want right away if I knew where they are. And I know where they are because I put them back where I first got them. Sorry if I repeated that part right there. That's a part a little bit where the redundancy and the repetition, it's like keeping myself on track. That's why I have to write notes, write these templates, write these different things. So I'm going to move on with my day doing that. And there's definitely more I have to report to you all, but that I think will definitely help provide more value with very specific examples that I keep talking about. And I think probably I'm going to do the one either on resiliency with people that I've known over the years, and or selling out, feeling like you have to sell out to get ahead or to be considered successful to yourself. very real topics and things that I have dealt with and have a lot of experience with, specifically over the last 20 years. Okay, so I will see you in the next video. Thank you for listening. Bye.